Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Similarly Different. I am with my dear friend, TikToker, social media sensation, Instagrammer, YouTuber, artist, actress, fashion designer, mom, daughter, wife, Liane V.
Thank you.
So
I'm
many
so
things.
happy to be here. Thank you for having me today.
I'm so happy for you to be here. So this is super chill, conversational. Liane is here. She took time out of her very busy schedule to be able to be here with me. But I was thinking of having someone on. I didn't want to make this podcast super filled with guests or all my peers because it's supposed to be more about my experience and my journey. But then the other day I was with you, and I think it was the first time we ever hung out one-on-one.
Yeah.
And we
got
to
so
talk.
lost in our conversation, I started missing all the exits.
Yeah.
I'm like, we got to stop talking for a second so I can know where we're going.
I know we missed 3 of her exits towards her house, and she was like, oh, at this point we're gonna end up in Vegas.
I know, literally.
But I think that everyone knows you, but also there's so many sides of you that we as your friends got to know throughout the time, and I think that those are the most special, and I think that it just makes you even more beautiful than everybody already sees that you are and can tell from your content and the things that you've shared. So obviously you've gone through many different stages of your life, from career and personal, and I wanted to talk about that.
Yeah.
And also see how maybe we've had synergy or differences in that to be able to have whoever listens to it, whether it's your peers or people that follow you or people that may not even know you, like, wow, I just learned something new, either how to go through that or how she went through it. So first off, you started in social media. For those that don't know, when did you start in social? Like, how old were you?
So I moved to Los Angeles 2006. I'm from Northern California, Modesto. It's a small city. It's by like maybe an hour and a half from San Francisco because people don't know where Modesto is. It's a very, very small city. Everyone knows everyone. So I just want to put that in perspective because coming from a small city, moving to LA is really scary. There's a lot of what I've learned. People say, oh, there's a lot of competition. LA is going to eat you alive. And it's just like this whole monster that they build up what LA is. But to me, to a lot of people that are striving for success and their goals, it's like a dream come true to move here. And it is. I think everything is about perspective and where you feel your heart is being called to. And when I moved to LA, it was right after high school. And we treated it as if it was like a college. I'm Filipino, so our culture is very, go to college, that's how you get successful. And for me, I always felt like college wasn't for me. I felt like something was calling me in the industry, and I just wanted to do something creative, something with music, dance, acting, modeling, like anything that was in that field just really brought me to life. I was always so excited, and it sparked an interest in me. So my parents were super supportive, which is really surprising.
It's very
being
rare.
Filipino,
Yeah.
you know? So I got started in acting classes and doing like networking events, and I was a red carpet host. I think 2013 was when I started doing Vine videos. So I was doing cheesy cover videos on YouTube, which you cannot find anymore. I deleted them. I wish I didn't, because now I want to look back and like see, but it's really embarrassing at the time when I looked back. But it's cool to see how far you've came in like your life. So I started doing Vine videos, which are 6-second videos that loop. They're comedy videos or anything, honestly. But for me, like coming from a place of I want to do acting, music, modeling, like something serious, and then to open up to comedy was something way out of my comfort zone. And I got into it because my friend Daystorm, our friend Daystorm, he's the OG on YouTube. So he's literally the go-to guy that pretty much knew it all at the time. And I'm like, how do you edit your videos and you're making money off YouTube? Like, that's really cool. You're doing this for a living. You built your own audience.
Right.
I want to do that too. Like, that's awesome. And at the time back then, to be with an agency or a manager, it seemed almost impossible to get noticed. And so if I can try to build my own audience by myself, like, I'm going to try to do it. So as I was working part-time jobs, I sold cars on the side.
I actually
Monday
bought
through
my
Friday.
car in 2020 from one of your
You
jobs
did tell
that
me
you
that.
had.
That's right.
Yeah.
Radical Auto Deals. I remember like back in Burbank, I just remember working and putting stickers on the car like, God, I know there's something more for me than this, but I'm just going to do this part-time. And I also was doing backup singing on the weekends for this artist. So I was able to travel and still do what I wanted to do. And I was shooting Vine videos in between my breaks. I chose to do Vine because, one, it was something that I enjoyed doing with our friends. It was kind of like therapy to me to be able to connect with other people that love to create as well. So I started doing that, and I wanted to do comedy because I felt like they're doing comedy. I have some funny ideas. I don't think I'm funny, but I think I have funny ideas. So why not try it? So I started doing funny dance videos with my dad and just doing funny skits with our friends. And then within 6 months, I accumulated 1 million followers,
Oh, wow.
which was pretty, like, it's hard now to do that. And back then, it was so much easier to gain followers. And now it's a little bit oversaturated. But as long as you keep doing it, you will grow. But I remember back then, it was a big, big deal. And Vine was just a hit. And then all of a sudden, Vine kind of died. And I'm just so grateful that I took that risk. Even though it was out of my comfort zone, I took that risk and allowed God to kind of guide me through these times of uncertainty. I feel like we have this image of what we want our goals and success to look like, but you just don't know how you're going to get there sometimes.
Right. And you mentioned something. You said back in the day, you grew 1 million followers that fast. Now, with other social media platforms, do you ever get kind of let down when you don't see that fast advancement because it is more saturated?
I think it wasn't like it just happened where I just got sad. I feel like I noticed a change. And I've always known that things change with social media.
Right.
The trends change, new apps come, some apps die, and I've kind of allowed myself to not get affected by it as bad. It is disappointing.
Yeah.
But I kind of just shake it off because something else comes.
Yeah.
You know, I just try to keep my mind very open and positive with the changes, and you have to constantly evolve.
And then when you started noticing that you were growing, was that the decision that you said, okay, I want to do this full time for sure? Because you were also an artist at one point, side to Red One. Was it Red One?
I don't know if we signed. We did like music with him.
Oh, okay.
It was a really interesting situation, but I worked with so many different people.
Yeah, you did that. You worked with a lot of really big producers and you were focusing on your music career too. I feel like you've had so many different chapters in life. We all do, like whether it's relationship based, whether it's moving from one state to another or another country. You even had different titles. So now with the title that you have, a multi-content creator and a mom, how is that different from the Liane that was starting with the Vine and everything was so exciting?
So different. It's insane to think about who I used to be because, again, we've all grown and a lot of things that we've learned along the way. That Liane that moved to LA, I feel like there was fear. Obviously, there's always fear in the unknown, but there's more. I feel like my faith overpowered my fear. My passion and love overpowered any of my doubts. But now, the woman I am today, it's like if I could tell my younger self, you just got to do what you love and you got to do it unapologetically. You just got to go for it and be consistent and not care what people think because social media can really tear you apart. And I feel like people will always have their opinions and have their commentary of what they think you should do or what they think you're doing is wrong. And at the end of the day, I've learned that you just got to do what you love and stay true to who you are. And I'm definitely going to tell my daughter, like, it's just crazy now that I have a daughter. It's so much to think about. Like, you're going to see, like, when you have a kid, you're going to be like, oh my God, she's going to make this mistake, that mistake. But it's like, you have to allow things to happen because I feel like a lot of the things I've learned was through experience.
Yeah.
And so the person I am today, I feel more confident. I'm way more at peace. A lot of things that used to bother me don't bother me anymore. And you just start to realize what's really important in life.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I was like, you start realizing what's really important and how much you're putting effort and thought into things that aren't, because as it is, you put yourself on social media every day and there is a possibility for you to be criticized, right? But you could also be criticized at work if you're a dental assistant between your staff. You can be criticized if you're a teacher with the staff or your students. You can be criticized when you're walking down the street. So it's like, are you going to let the possibility of being criticized dumb down or stop you from achieving a possible goal or something that fulfills you?
Yeah.
Or are you going to go for it? Because at least for me, I don't know about you, but I don't want to be 65 years old and be like, but I wonder what if. The what if is so hard.
Yeah. And honestly, I look back, I'm like, man, if I didn't care about what people said about me in high school, how much more confident would you be? How much more happier would you be? Like, I really admire people that just do what they want and they don't care what people say.
Yeah.
You know, and it takes time to build that confidence. But once you understand the facts of like, man, these people's opinions aren't going to change my life. Like, they're not paying the bills. Because you got to do what you got to do to make you happy.
Their opinion could be based off their insecurities, based off things that they don't have the strength to be able to go and do it themselves. A lot of the times, like even as content creators, right? You go and you do this makeup tutorial, you spend time filming it, editing it, you're being creative. Maybe it's a way for you to release like stress. And then you post it and somebody might be like, how many pounds of makeup do you have?
Oh my goodness.
You could you could either lead with that, or you could lead with the girl that said, oh my God, you just taught me a good technique. And now goes and with that technique that she does, now she feels more confident in herself. Now she's able to go achieve and do this with more confidence, walk into the room. And it's like, which one are you going to choose? And that's in anything. Like obviously we're talking about makeup and things of that sort, but whether it is that you want to lead a podcast,
right,
or you want to go and do a TED Talk, and a TED Talk is your dream goal, or go for that job. Like I always tell people, even my friends that aren't in social media, I'm like, just do it. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, because it's just another opportunity.
Yeah, and if you get told no, you get told no, why, and then you can fix it.
Right.
For the next time.
And I think what helped me too is understanding the other side. Say when you're reading comments and they're negative. Like a lot of the times they're kids or somebody that is probably going through something that it triggered them and make them feel insecure. Like they're projecting what they may be feeling onto you. So I just learned to not take it personal. I'm like, this person's probably really insecure or really jealous, whatever it may be. I feel like there's always a reason, and it's not you. Yeah. It's them. Of course. And I just don't take it personal. I've just learned to not take anything personal, because if you did, I feel like I wouldn't be where I am today.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then from Liane the entertainer to then Liane being in a whole public relationship that turns into a marriage, if you could think 3 things that changed from Liane single to Liane the wife.
Single and married.
Yes.
Now understanding being married for almost 3 years, I just had this conversation with my sister the other day, and she's engaged. She was actually divorced twice and now engaged. Like, you can only imagine what she may be feeling and the fears and the insecurities of what your next marriage will be and hoping for.
And that even a marriage is going to happen. And I could talk about that, because for me, I'm like, God, did you bring that into my life for me to experience, and then that's it? Like, I experienced it. Cool. You got that out of the way. It didn't work out, but at least you experienced it.
And you
or
learned.
Is somebody else going to come for the new version and the evolved version that I am right now?
Yes.
That is very real to feel.
Yes. And so I was talking to my sister about this, and she's like, I want to get into therapy. I think we're going to do it. And honestly, therapy had changed me and my husband's life. We've went through so much together. We've shared so much on social media. I feel like everyone was so invested in our relationship because we were so public. And imagine a breakup in public. Like, it was even harder. But the single Liane, what I've learned from being single to being married, like, your mindset has to completely change, knowing that when you say I do, when you're choosing someone, this is the person that you have to understand that is your other half. So when I was having this conversation with my sister, and she's like, I just feel like, what if I'm constantly evolving as a woman and he needs to evolve with me? And if he doesn't, then I'm just going to grow away from him. I'm going to feel like I'm ahead. And it's like that mindset already you're losing, because you're looking at each other as a separate. You have to be thinking of it as one, because when you get married, technically you do become one. Right. And so I feel like marriage, my parents have been married for over 40 years, and seeing their marriage and why they have had such a successful marriage is they work through their problems. They make each other's problems. It's not, that's your problem, you got to figure it out. Like, obviously it's very overwhelming sometimes, but this is your person. This is your partner. This is who you chose. When you choose, that's what you have for that moment of when you're thinking about going through all these things with this person, you want to give up. And again, there's reasons for everything. Like, you got married, you said, at such a young age, and you were growing and learning. And I feel like it's really tough to get married at such a young age, because you're still figuring out who you are.
1000%.
And my sister did too. She got married like in her 20s. So for me, like the single Liane, I was always thinking about me and like my solo journey, and like, I hope Dawn can figure it out. I hope Dawn this and me, and it was just so, that was the mentality before. And as we grew in our marriage, we've learned to have this team effort with each other, sharing our emotions, our feelings, communicating everything so that we can understand each other, because number one is communication. And men, a lot of men, I'm not saying all men, have an issue of communication and expressing their feelings. And as women, we can talk about our feelings all day. With men, it's just like, they just can talk about sports. It's just the way
Yeah.
It is.
I
They
think
have
also them being able to correctly receive you
yeah,
sharing your feelings with them,
understanding.
because they might just say, okay, she's venting to me. She wants me to hear her out, but I'm dismissing it because I'm not actually
Yeah.
putting it in thought of how she's
And
feeling.
I think therapy has
Mm-hmm.
helped us communicate in a healthy way. Not, I don't want to say fight, but have a healthy
Yeah.
argument and understand sometimes we can agree to disagree. And so I think therapy has definitely really healed a lot of my insecurities, and time heals a lot of things. And also, like you said, the efforts on the other end for them to want to make things work is what will help a marriage.
Yeah, because I think as people, we're constantly, like your sister said, we're constantly going to be evolving.
Yeah.
But does this person want to continuously fall in love with each version that you're evolving to? That should be the goal. Now, obviously, in different situations, if you're giving, and the other person is like,
Yeah.
then it's different.
Yeah.
But I definitely agree with that. Now, what about Liane, the wife, Liane, the entertainer, Liane, the person, and Liane, the mom?
So from me being an entertainer to a wife to a mom, oh my gosh. I feel like there's so many words that can describe those different versions of me, but I'm still an entertainer. I still do that. And a wife, I feel like the responsibilities, I feel like I'm just juggling every day.
Yeah.
Like it's really hard to try to be pouring into my husband. I'm your wife. And then not only that, my parents, they live with us. So I have to be a daughter and then also a mother. And I think that what helps me manage and juggle everything is just one day at a time. I think that's with everything in life. You just got to take things one day at a time. And I feel like also, as a creator, a content calendar has really helped me. And I used to hate a content calendar because I want to be able to do what I want when I want to, and the freedom to switch whatever I want up in my schedule. But it's really great to have structure in your marriage. Whereas, like I say, Dawn, the responsibilities I feel that I need from you is changing the diapers today. You focus on the diapers or take out the garbage, and then I could do the feedings and the laundry. Like, I think it's really important to voice out the responsibilities and organizing what is our work days. Monday through Friday, we're going to work. Weekends, we can unplug and really focus and be present for our family. And then we'll have one day out the week where it's just us time. We can go to a dinner, we can go to a movie. So I think it's really important to learn how to divide those times the best you can. And I know a lot of times, I mean, the first year having Zaya, I feel like everything was scrambled. You try to figure out even just like how to heal and also take care of a baby and try to keep it alive the first year. You're like, this is so hard, but you figure it out.
Do you feel like you dealt with like postpartum?
I don't think I had really bad postpartum. I've been very blessed to have family, and Dawn has been so supportive. And I think I've already been working on myself and my mind. So I think I was just prepared for it.
I think that's one of my biggest fears in being a mom, because I have dealt with depression and anxiety growing up, and I've been able to balance it and be able to know when it's like spiking and I'm like, ooh, I notice certain things happening. But I'm like, being a mom, it's a whole other level.
Yeah,
not only do you have this human,
it's a whole job.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's like the way I visualize it when I was like saying all the titles that you hold, it's like plates behind your back. It's like you're still all of them. But now it's like a new added plate on top of it that you're having to carry, and you're doing willingly because you're wanting to.
Yeah.
But it's just like,
It's
all
a
right.
lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. And I think for me, it's kind of scary because I've seen a few friends of mine go through postpartum and have to maneuver through it. And I don't think anyone's ever going to really be able to understand unless they're actively going through it. So it's like you have to give so much grace to people.
I agree.
So
everyone's journey is different. And when it comes to, for me, like postpartum, again, the support system, having someone you can talk to, you have to be able to communicate what you're going through to someone, a friend, your mom. And I mean, I give it to the moms that are single mothers out there, because it's really, really hard to take care of a baby and take care of yourself.
I mean, we've had a friend, I'll never forget, the baby was born and we were doing shifts.
Yeah.
We were doing shifts of taking care of the baby.
But you see, this is the beautiful thing, because I feel that God is always going to provide a way of uplifting whatever the weight is at that moment, because she could have just completely been by herself with nothing, but she has family that she moved
Yeah.
back home to. She had friends.
Yep.
I think it's really important to make sure you reach out to your friends. For anyone that's going through postpartum,
Yeah.
make sure you reach out to your friends, your family, someone that can be there through that time.
Yeah, and voice it, because it may feel like you're not alone, but people
can feel like they're a burden, or they're
Yeah.
embarrassed about the way they feel, and insecurities, like even just going to church and finding any kind of upliftment over there. I feel like that really helped guide my career, helped guide my relationship. So, I mean, I'm a woman of faith. My dad was a pastor. I grew up in a Christian household. So faith is all I know. And faith has really brought me to where I am today and has given me the strength to overcome a lot of things that I've been through. So I'm just grateful that I have that foundation and that I've stuck to it all this time.
Did you ever make a decision to not fully be an artist and lean more into content?
I haven't really talked about that. I think it's a...
Because I feel like you were doing it.
I went hardcore. I was going on tour. I was recording EPs and performing at so many events. And you know what? I think the thing is about the industry, the music industry, it comes with a lifestyle. And I think that to go into that, you have to understand that it comes with a lifestyle and there comes with the environment.
The relationships and everything.
Not that it's impossible to live that lifestyle and still do what you're doing, because it is possible. But I have been such a follower of God that if something is off, I just walk away from it. Or I'll face it and see if this is something that I could be a potential light. Because one thing I remember what my dad was saying to me when I was in high school, and I said, Dad, a lot of people say, if you're a Christian, why are you going to be a singer in LA? Like, it's really corrupted. They say it's the devil's playground. Like, why are you going to go in such a dark hole? And my dad's like, you're a light in this world. And you want to be a light to somebody. And if God has put something in your heart to go and be in that position to be a light for someone, then go. And it changed the perspective in my life to be able to be myself and to allow myself to go into the Hollywood world and not be afraid, because I'm just being me and I'm doing what I feel my purpose is. And transitioning from letting go, it's interesting because it gradually happened. Like, a lot of it just happened because the people I was working with, it was just a stress to work with them. They're not consistent, not reliable. I mean, I'm grateful for all of the things that I have done with the people I've worked with, because I've learned a lot along the way. But life happens, and it's just constant disappointments, honestly, and constant people that have stolen from me or lied to me, have lied to my whole family. Like, there's a lot of things that has happened that I have never shared about in the music industry, where it just constantly pushed me away.
It just took the fun out of it. I feel like.
And you have that passion of I love doing music. I love to sing. I love to dance, all those things. And I still will do that. But maybe not as a profession. It kind of just slowly started happening where I was getting turned off by certain things, and I started finding happiness in other things. That's why we have this view of what our ultimate goal is, the big picture. And I think it's crazy how God's plan was so much better for me, because I'm so much happier. And I feel like God puts these desires in our hearts for a reason, to get us from point A to point B. But then you discover something here, and this person, this version of yourself, you realize, I actually want to do this thing instead.
So one of the questions that I hate when people ask me, and hate is a very strong word, but I hate it, is people say, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And the reason is, for that reason, I always say wherever God wants me. Because I could tell you, I see myself doing this, and this. And me voicing it and using my mouth to say that, I could be closing off the opportunities that are actually so much further than I could ever imagine. And I'm using my voice to say, hey, God, forget you. I want to go this way because I want to go, whether it's ego, whether I think my desires are that. And then if for whatever reason, the universe, God, whatever you believe in, leads me that way, and I find myself depressed, unhappy, and unfulfilled, I wanted this. So it's like, what now? So instead, I'm like, I don't know. I'm working efficiently and effectively every day. I'm putting 100%. If I meet people and they offer me something and I feel peace with it, I lead with it and I move with it. If I don't feel peace in something, I no longer move with it. A few weeks ago, one of our producers, Courtney, I was sharing with her something that I was going through, and she was like, how does your heart feel? And I was honest with her, because you don't always feel peace or anxiety from it. Sometimes you're split down the middle. And I was like, I don't know. I'm split down the middle. And she goes, okay, sit with that. And I remember I was in front of my building. I actually haven't told you this. I was in front of my building and I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, I started praying and I was like, God, lead me, give me answers, give me answers. And within, I want to say like less than a week, something happened and it gave me the answer.
Wow.
Did part of my heart get a little bit hurt from it? Yeah. But it was probably because my ego desired this.
Right.
And I was like, there's a reason why I got an answer and things didn't work out that way. But it made my decision easier to now go the other way.
Right.
And I think with everything, whether it's prayer, whether it's journaling, whether it's talking to your peers, therapy, if you have family that you can lean on, like your dad, like you have done many times in your life, it's so important to be able to, yes, reach out or go to professionals, but also sit within yourself.
Right.
Because I feel a lot of the times if we just close out the noise, close out the, but you know, maybe I get attention here, or maybe this boosts my ego, or maybe this is a part of me that I want, but this other part of you would expand so much if you actually just sit and lean with that. And I think that even now, whether you're talking about the music, like you said, you don't talk about it much. I think it's very telling that your life was supposed to go this way because you're such at peace with it.
I feel like everyone's definition of success is different. But for me, it's just doing what I love every day. That's like the ultimate success and peace for me. Like you don't have the obligation to do certain things, to just live a day every day with other people's bossing you around or whatever. I just want to live free to do what I want to do when I want to do it. I think that's success to me. You wake up and you can do what you want. And I think that's what made me want to be a CEO of my brand or entrepreneur, just like my own boss. I think it's so beautiful nowadays that we can have that opportunity. And it's not for everyone because it is a big responsibility. The
And
bigger
you have
the
to have
blessing,
a lot of discipline.
the heavier weight you are going to have. I was just actually sharing this. We wanted a bigger house. Well, we're going to have a bigger mortgage. There's way more responsibilities. You have to also be careful what you pray for because God sometimes will give it to you. And then you're going to have to figure out how you're going to keep it because certain blessings can turn into curses if you're not managing it properly.
And he'll even show you things to be like, I know you didn't want this, but I'm just giving you a glimpse so that you could see and understand. Let me lead you because I know that you don't want this. And what I have for you is better.
Sometimes we have to go through those things. Everything's a lesson learned. Everything's through experience. And I love that you were sharing how some people ask you that question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? It's cool to have a vision. You know, it's good to have your goals, but allow God to move you within those goals because you never know what else is on the other side of the door. Something greater, like you said, beyond what we could ever imagine.
Yeah, I remember when I was younger, I used to have I was such a planner, like the control freak in me. I was like, by this time I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I need to achieve this. And then it was like, okay, I got married a lot younger than I thought. Then, okay, that didn't work out. Okay, now I'm having to restart. Okay, now I got on a show. Am I really happy on this show? Like I was happy at first and then I felt like I reached my top of it. And then I was like, how am I expanding? How am I pushing myself? How am I growing? And then I was like, okay. And then now I'm like, what I feel and what I do, peace is so important to me. I can't be in something that's going to push me out of who I am.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not willing to risk that anymore. For you, how do you know if it's you trying to make this decision or if it's led by God now where you are in your life?
For me, I feel like it's just you feel it in your heart. Our intuition, I feel like, is very strong. So if I walk in a room and I don't feel comfortable or this situation doesn't seem right or it's not really for me or not aligning, I kind of just know it right off the bat. You feel it in your heart. I think it's something that you just right away know.
And even when you've been going through like hard situations, like obviously you were public about when you guys were dating and decided to break up, how do you go about making the right decision when feeling so much, right? Because it's easy to
I felt so much, so many things.
You feel so many emotions. You're like, do I trust? Do I not? Rebuild, pain, hurt, anger.
Yes.
How do you deal with that when you're actively going through it? Because when I look back at situations, I'm like, okay, as I've gotten older, I've tried not to be so reactive and also tried to be like, how am I compartmentalize my feelings? So when you're feeling torn apart, and in this case with the breakup, and you say, okay, I'm gonna finally decide to give it another shot.
Right.
What is that you leaned with?
For me, when I went through that breakup, I feel like what I've learned, our emotions change from hot to cold all the time. And everything that we feel is fleshly. We feel everything that we can even fall into temptation. It's all fleshly things. I had to really separate my emotions into what is really the real goal for Liane. If this woman is going to jump into a relationship because there's fear there, that's not right. And I feel like the number one thing why sometimes women don't want to leave a situation is because of fear, where they feel like maybe I won't find someone like this person, or maybe this person hurt me, but he won't do it again. I think there's a lot of things that you can feel torn about, but for me, I just knew in my heart that I just really needed to get out of this relationship. I think everyone reaches their breaking point at some point where I just know that we need to break up. No matter how much I love you, no matter how much I want to make it work, it's not working, and I'm not going to keep fighting. And there's that fine line between should I keep fighting or really do I need to let go? And at that point in my life, I needed to let go, and I just had to stick to it because overall my mindset was wanting what God wants for me, and I know that what I was going through was not healthy.
Yeah.
So I had to step back and really put my emotions aside and focus on self-love. And I think that's when I fell in love with myself. I figured out what made me who I wanted Liane to be. I felt like I lost myself in the relationship where I was so consumed with what he was doing and everything and how we looked in public and making sure that everything, it just was too much.
Yeah.
And it's like, I need to get back to the Liane that loved me, that felt like I was living in my purpose. And I know this person's only going to support who I feel that I'm destined to be. And that's what I feel is important in a relationship, is that partnership. And so separating that, I had to separate my feelings and just go through that journey of self-love. And also that's when I kind of got into manifestation, affirmations, and knowing that I can really heal myself and lean in again about faith and trusting in God, knowing that everything happened for a reason. And this person that I was, which was broken and confused, is just a season. Like it was just a season that I know I'm going to get better and things are going to get better. And whatever God has for me is meant to be.
Yeah. Would you say that the Liane that was then would deal the same way the situations with the Liane now?
Like if I were to go through that now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that it's interesting because I can say what I think I would do, but when you go through it, you just never know. But I feel that I would make that same decision of just refocusing myself and making sure I'm connected with my faith, because I feel like, again, I'm speaking so much of my faith because this is really what I do. I really just pray about everything. And anything that is not of God, I'm just like, okay, if I'm doubting, the opposite of doubt is faith. If I'm doubting, if I'm insecure, I need to realign myself and connect myself with God again, because there's something that's not connecting. And so I feel so much peace whenever I do that, because it's natural for us to get distracted. It's natural for us to feel these emotions, and it's healthy for us to process these feelings, but it's not good to stay in it. It's okay to cry, let it out, but wipe your tears off and just really think about, okay, I can get myself out of this. I know that I deserve more, and I'm going to focus on my faith, my love for myself, and reposition myself so that I can be walking in my purpose.
Yeah, and I think even from every experience that you deal with that is negative in your life, once you're able to learn, the whole point is that if you ever come to a similar situation in the future, you now have the tools to be able to process it better and in a healthier way than you did before. For me, there's times where I've gone through breakups and it has torn me apart for days, for weeks, for months. And I'm not saying that the next breakup doesn't do that, but I don't allow myself to think so many limiting beliefs or lies or blame. Obviously, if I had something to do with it, then I'll take accountability for it.
Right.
But when it's things that are out of your control, when we're younger, when we're in middle school, high school, even like our early 20s, we just think so prematurely and intensely about things, where now, at least for myself, from therapy, from journaling, from getting to know yourself so much deeper and knowing like the truth about yourself, like you're able to process things in such a better way and more mature way. And I think that's so important, because a lot of the times we just want to go left.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's a lie, that's a lie, and it's not healthy, and it just delays the process of being like, this didn't work out, whatever it is, whether it's a job, a person, a relationship. What can I learn from it? What did this trigger me in? What do I need to look within and realize this triggered me here? I need to strengthen this side of me. I need to work on this. And this was going on. I can't carry what they're going on. Or like if a job didn't happen, okay, well, I did my best. Maybe it wasn't
Isn't
for
life
me.
crazy? We're just constantly trying to figure it out.
Literally.
And constantly trying to keep our head above the water with every new version of who we are.
Yeah, because even as content creators, an app comes out and then you're like, do I have to be on that app now?
So I literally was talking to my sister about this. She's like, oh my God, I'm always being tested. Like, God, no more tests. I don't want any more tests. Like, please, I'm done. And I'm like, then stop wanting more for yourself. If you don't want to grow, stop wanting more for yourself.
Yeah.
Just be fine. And listen, everybody is different. Some people can be very okay with just the simple things, which is beautiful. Sometimes I wish I was more of a minimalist because I always want more and more and more, like more decorations, more this, more that. But the more you want, there's going to be more challenges.
Yeah.
And you have to accept those tests because those tests are for development. That's how you grow and you build and you expand. And I think that's just what the issue is. People want more, but they don't realize the work that gets to that point.
Yeah, the discipline it takes to be able to achieve
and that's
that.
With everything.
Yeah, you have to have discipline to really look within, to look in the mirror. You have to have discipline and be like,
going to the gym, you want a nice body, you got to work out.
Yeah.
You want to be healthy, you got to be disciplined to eat good.
Yes.
It's hard.
It's hard, but it's possible.
Feel good, right?
Yeah. And also, I'm not saying like beat yourself up either.
Yeah.
I'm not saying look in the mirror and be like, oh, I have, and pinpoint everything about you.
Right.
It's just a thin line of it. But I think you've been doing a really good job at it. And
Thank
clearly
you.
it shows.
Thank you.
And what I love more about you is that what shows is really who you are. And I don't know if people know this or people truly believe it, but it really is. We have conversations and you're always like, how does that make you feel? But I think you're doing great. And I think that you do that to yourself and it shows because that's how you also talk to everyone around you. And it just goes to show of how you have achieved everything in your life because you truly have. If you've wanted more, you're like, okay, then we got to do more. Then we got to do this. You put the stepping stones for the success in your life, in different sectors of your life. So I hope that if anybody is watching this, that they take that discipline. There has to be discipline in there. Walk with faith, whether your faith is God or you believe in whatever you believe in, as long as it's positive.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
as it's positive, you go and you lean on that. Work on being your best self. If you lie to others, you lie to yourself the most.
Right.
And it's going to come out eventually.
Right.
And you could achieve everything you want to achieve as long as you don't let fear be the leader.
Yes. Yes.
So
I love that.
if you guys took anything from this episode, I hope it's that. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Liane,
so
for
much
talking.
Oh, before we
Yes.
finish,
Oh,
I
yes.
brought a little gift.
Oh,
So this here got me through depression, through my breakup. This actually got my whole family through it. And I hope that this blesses your life. I know you already do a little bit of this already, but this is a little gift. And this hasn't been released.
Oh.
This is actually the first of it.
so excited. Dun, dun, dun.
The first hardcover
Aw.
of my 7 a.m. journal.
7 a.m. journal.
So this is my affirmations and manifestation journal. So on 2020, I actually was just writing on pieces of paper with my family. We went through, I was going through my breakup, COVID happened, and we wrote down what we were grateful for every single day. And we realized gratitude is really the key to happiness. When you
Yes.
focus on the positive things in life, all of the negative things just disappear. And it takes time for your mind to develop that muscle of
Yes.
just getting over things quicker. But I've noticed when you focus on that, everything else kind of just goes away.
Yeah.
You know, so this has helped me and my family. I kind of made a simple layout of writing down what you're grateful for every day, my favorite Bible verses, the things that I love with affirmations and some empty pages for notes. But it's very simple. I
So
didn't want it to be
beautiful.
complicated when I was making
Yeah.
a journal, and I've made different versions of it over the years. But this is the newest edition. This is the hardcover.
I love
But
this.
we
It's
still have
so
it available in
beautiful.
soft cover, but this is the very first one.
So beautiful. Thank you.
I hope you love
I love it.
it.
It has mind goals,
Yes.
body goals, soul goals, good health, affirmations. I love this so much. It's so beautiful. Bible verses. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Yes, I love you.
Thank you so much for listening
Thank
or
you for having
watching.
me.
And until next time.